What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Paste Studios here in Midtown Manhattan, New York City. We are really, really fortunate to be joined right now by C. Duncan.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it's our pleasure. You have your debut record is out now. It's called The Midnight Sun.
Yes.
It's a beautiful record, and we're really looking forward to hearing some songs from it today.
Great.
So tell me about the first one you're going to do for us.
The first song I'm going to play from it is a song called Jupiter. It's about a nightclub in Hamburg, and yeah, that's all I'll say about it.
All right, cool. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it sounds great. I'm really interested in this record because after I listened to the record, I learned a little bit about your musical background. And I know now that you are from a very a musical household, but a heavily classical music household.
Yes, I am.
And that you studied composition in your home country of Scotland.
Yep.
And so, when I listened to the record, it sort of put it in a different context for me. I could hear what I think is that sort of composition kind of education, but I hear a lot of their folk sounds. There's a lot of sort of new wave and dream pop on there.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, like what you were doing as a composition student and as someone who came out of a classical music background, are these the songs that you were making at that time? I mean, is this always where your music has been sort of headed?
Sort of, I guess. Well, whenever I was studying, I kind of did. So I did lots of classical stuff for university.
Yeah.
But in all my spare time, I would make pop music, and then just at some point, the two of them just kind of met.
Yeah.
And I thought, why choose one or the other? I might as well just use my influences from the classical world and try and, use the same sort of layers as you would in that into my pop music.
Yeah, and so is that something like, when you, as a student at a music conservatory in the 21st century, is that a lot? You find that a lot? There are kids who are studying classical music and are steeped in classical, but of course they are listening to what is coming out now, and they are sort of figuring out ways to meld them into a singular thing?
Yeah, I reckon so. It's it's funny you say that, because most of my friends from conservatoire all went off and did totally different things musically. I've only got one or two who ended up doing classical music, but it's a great sort of route into doing film music or video game music, where you can actually merge the two things. You can use your training, but also your interests from outside of that as well.
Right. So in terms of your training, with the sounds that you make now, what is the thing that, if there is one thing or one concept or tool that you really use as like a foundation for how you compose now? Is there one thing that was the most sort of useful for you coming out of your education?
Probably use of harmony.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm very, very interested in, and studying harmony and how to use it in classical music, it was definitely a massive help.
Yeah.
For what I'm doing now, going into slightly unexpected places with songs, and just having that sort of depth of harmony, which is just something that I really like.
Yeah, cool. Was there a lot of vocal activity, or did you do a lot with vocals at when you were studying?
None at all. No.
Yeah.
No, but as a kid I sang in choirs and
right.
things like that. So that's kind of
a
thing from then.
Cool, man. So you're gonna do another couple songs for us from the Midnight Sun. Tell me a little bit about what this next one is.
So this next song was the most recent single from the album, and it's called Like You Do.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I know that this record, it's your first, and
it's actually my second.
Is it your second?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. I thought it was your debut full length. No,
It's my second one. But
when did the first one come out?
First one came out about 2.5 years ago now.
2.5 years ago.
But this might be the first one that's actually made it stateside.
Yeah, right. Well, we here in America, anything that doesn't happen in America doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, Glasgow's quite far away as well.
So this one I know you made in your home studio, right?
I did, yes.
The first one as well.
Yep.
So, the record has such a lush sound, many layers of sounds, a very full-bodied kind of music. So, is that a natural way for you to build these kinds of songs?
It is, yeah. Yeah, certainly with this record. So the first album was quite lush, but with this record, I wanted to see just how kind of dreamy and luscious I could make it.
Yeah.
So again, that comes from my kind of layering of harmonies and stuff.
Yeah, and so all of the instrumentation we hear, all of the programming, all of the voices, that's all you.
Yes, yeah. Most of it was done with this keyboard.
Right. And so, is that also something that, as you, kind of sort of matured and learned more about music and composing it and performing it, I mean, have you always been kind of a solo operator in that way?
No, so writing-wise, yeah, I spend most of my time alone just writing music and recording it. But live-wise, I usually have a band of about 4 people. But we thought for this American tour, I'd just come across myself and to see if I could do it as well. Yeah. And it's been a lot of fun. It's quite fun performing solo.
So when it comes to the recording of the music, it's a deliberate decision on your part to not have other musicians contributing parts. What is it that compels you to do this all on your own when you're making the record?
I think that's a kind of hangover of being a composition student as well, because you do that in a room by yourself, and then you give it to other people to play, but you make the whole thing yourself. And that's kind of the approach I take to making music and recorded music. Is I like to sit in a room, isolate myself, and just go crazy with music and see what comes out, kind of thing. And I think if I had other influences from people, it'd probably come out even better. But it's just the way I work at the moment, but that's that'll change.
It will change, you think?
Yeah, I reckon so.
Yeah. Do you enjoy in a live setting, in a spontaneous setting, playing with other folks, or do you like to have that sort of level of control over the whole thing?
So this is only the second or third time I've actually done this solo, so it's too early to tell. But I mean, I do like the sort of camaraderie on stage.
Yeah.
But from the show last night we did in Boston, it was, it's quite fun. It's quite nerve-wracking being by yourself on stage. But again, it's just, it's a good confidence builder. So probably in the long run for, full band stuff, it's a good thing.
Right. Have you played in many bands or groups in the past?
I've played in a few bands when I was at school, but they were mostly kind of death metal.
Yeah,
bands.
right.
Yeah.
So at the time, were you thinking like, I've got to do this. I've got to do this solo. I got to go off on my own.
Not at the time, but yeah, it wasn't until I grew out of that phase.
Yeah.
Which I haven't quite still grown out
Right.
of.
But this is how you envision making records for the foreseeable future, in that sort of same way.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll come and go from my sort of home studio, because I am keen to get into a studio and see what it's like making albums in studios, because everyone raves about it. So I want a bit of that. But
they usually stick you with a producer though, who may actually have some ideas on what you should do.
That's good. It's about time that I just kind of sucked it up and let other have a bit of control here and there. Cool.
So you're going to do one more from
Yes.
the Midnight Sun for us today. Tell me a little bit about this last one.
So this last track is called Wanted to Want It Too. It's a tricky title to get your tongue around. And this was the first single from the record.
Great.
Get your fix on Friday night. Get your fix on Friday night. I could hardly say goodnight to the feeling if I wanted to. Wanted to. If I wanted to, wanted to. There's a piece of paradise. Where's a piece of paradise? I could hardly say goodbye to the fever in your eyes. And all of this is so incomparable. And all of this is what you do when you wanted to. Wanted to. For you. For you. For you. For you. For you. I wanted to. Wanted to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I was going back and checking. You're on tour with Elbow. There's a date tonight at Terminal 5 here in New York City.
There is, yes.
So that must be incredibly exciting to play. That's a very large room to be there by your lonesome on the stage with the keyboard.
Yeah, don't remind me.
And I know you have a date coming up in the UK a little bit later on.
Yep.
In December, I believe.
Yes, so we're doing a festival in Leeds, and that's on the 2nd of December. Yeah.
2nd of December, right. And I think there will be, so there's more music and dates to find on c-duncan.co.uk.
Yep.
And you can also find Chris here on social media, of course. The new record is called The Midnight Sun. It's a beautiful record, as we've just heard. Congratulations on it.
Oh, thank you.
It is your second full-length album.
Yes.
That's right. The first one here on our glorious American shores, of course.
Yes.
But congratulations on the record. It's really gorgeous. And thank you so much for coming to Paste and playing in our studio for us today.
Thanks very much for having
me. And please come back and play for us again when the next record is out.
Yep, definitely. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, man.
Cheers.